Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of LA Press Box. Special welcome to Yankees fans joining us tonight. If you're affected by a local TV blackout, you're away from home, or you're simply looking for another way to stay connected to tonight's game, you've found how bounty breakdowns and, of course, looking for plenty of interaction in the live chat. If you're joining us for the first time, let us know where you're watching from and which team you're cheering for. Doesn't matter whether you're in Los Angeles, New York, or somewhere else across the country or even the world. I know we have some viewers in Japan. Of course, you are welcome, and we're looking forward to trying to make this an enjoyable game for you guys. As always, over my shoulder, we have the lineups, and we're going to go ahead and give you a little bit of a preview for what you're going to be expecting today, at least to start the game. So we have Will Klein as the visiting team Dodgers starter today. He often is one of the middle relievers that struggles, and it's possible because of an unexpected doubleheader. Just like when Shohei Ohtani had knee soreness the last time, that today, starting with Will Klein, will be kind of starters by committee, giving a couple of innings to each of the middle relievers. The last time that happened, it did not go well, but they've had rest. We've had an all-star game. We'll see how that goes. Will Klein's current record is 3-4. His ERA is 2.41. He has 43 strikeouts on the year with 16 walks, and he's given up 2 home runs. And then Yarbrough is going to get the start for the Yankees. His record is 2-0 with an ERA higher than Klein's, 4.14. He's got 27 strikeouts, 16 walks, and 3 home runs that he's given up. Yankees are actually favored slightly today, and I can see that, not just because they're the home team, but because they are, facing what is probably going to be the weak part of the Dodgers organization, and that is their middle relievers, who are now looking to probably start the game, as I said before. For the Dodgers batting lineup, we will start, as always, unless he's taken a day off, with Shohei Ohtani. We'll continue to monitor that left knee. I think it's his left knee that's swollen. Prevented him from the last 2 opportunities to start on the mound. He'll be at the DH. Andy Pages, as always, in the second spot. In center field, Freddie Freeman at first base, followed by Mookie Betts at shortstop. Then Kyle Tucker coming after that cleanup hitter in right field. Miguel Rojas at second base, Teoscar Hernandez in left field, Muncy at third base, and another start for Edgardo Alfonzo at catcher. And I'm sure this is because of, once again, the doubleheader, and it's brutal to be a catcher in general, let alone to catch a doubleheader. So while we're still waiting for Will Smith to come back, it's kind of a catcher by committee, if you will, when we're in situations like this, between Dalton Rushing and Edgardo Alfonzo, which is a really bittersweet story if you haven't heard that already. Chances are we'll bring it up once again for you later on. All right, first pitch is going to be in about a minute or two, and this is the point where we always welcome you all to get your favorite drink and your favorite snack as I get ready to go ahead and load both the box score so you can keep track of how the hitters are doing, as well as the 3D imaging, which usually loads in the next minute. All right, so Shohei Ohtani, as usual, comes up, and you always want to be in your seat on time because he loves to hit leadoff home runs. And the first pitch is in there for a strike. And the next pitch hit deep, and it's caught in right center field. But no threat there to go yard, and so quickly the Dodgers have one away. 1-1 to pot hits. 1-1 to pot hits. And swung on a miss for a strike. And the count now to Pajes with one away is 2-2. Yeah, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the next pitch is looked at for strike 3, and very quickly now the Dodgers have 2 away. Oh, Pajes is going to challenge this one after he made a great effort to get to that ball, because really it was, for all intents and purposes, it was going to kind of slowly dribble into the outfield for a base hit. But base hit is stolen, and that is the end of the Dodgers' first crack at trying to make some runs. So at the middle of the first, it is Dodgers 0, Yankees 0. Excuse me. All right, so Will Klein set to take the mound, and hoping that he does not get run out of town after 2 innings, and that's exactly what happened last time. In fact, the last time that Shohei couldn't pitch and the Dodgers started with Will Klein and ended up pitching by committee, they were tagged for 8 runs. And what happened is every one of these guys that are normally not starters gave up 2 runs, and it was happening. It happened 4 different times. And Grisham swings early, and it's fly high to right. And Miguel Rojas makes the catch, And so one away. And Rice looks at the first pitch, low. Count is 1-0. And the next one is low. And you can make that 2-0 count. Then the next one swung on and missed for a strike. It was high and it was above the strike zone. Rice was hungry and looking for something he can drive. It's hard to lay off high pitches that don't have a whole lot of movement. Next one is a breaking ball, and it's in there for a strike. And the next pitch is grounded to second base, and Rojas makes the second out. So the first two outs on Rojas. Fly ball behind second base into shallow right field, and then the second one a ground out. So that'll bring up Goldschmidt with an 801 OPS. And the first pitch is a strike. And the second one is poked to right field, gets it down and fair. And he's got a stand-up double. You just hope that Klein, doesn't hang his head and seem to have a negative attitude. This is one of the things that's hard to do. Very few people can do it effectively and routinely. Miguel Rojas is one of those kinds of players. That's one reason he's had a lot of success. And he still thrives as kind of a utility and fill-in player, starting some of the time, at the end of his veteran career. Will Klein is not typically one of those kinds of players. So that's going to bring up the cleanup hitter, Cody Bellinger, who looks at the first pitch for ball one. Klein takes a peek at second base, and the next pitch is swung on and missed. Counts 1-1. And the next pitch is smoked to right center, and that's going to easily bring home the first run of the game with 2 outs. Good job by Bellinger, who is one of these players, there's more than one, that have been all-stars for both the Dodgers and the Yankees. Bellinger, if you didn't know, was the MVP of the All-Star game. Did an outstanding job on that. Bringing home somebody in scoring position, which is one of the most important keys to winning. So that's going to bring up Dominguez, the 5-hitter. He has a .684 on-base percentage. He is batting .235 on the season. Fouls that one off, and the count early to him is 1-2. So 2 away, runner at first. And the 2-strike pitch is fouled off. And the next pitch is on the ground into right field. As you can see there, Bellinger had to jump over the ball, but did so easily. And so after getting the first 2 outs, 3 straight hits, and Klein's shaking his head. What you don't want to do is you don't want to show that kind of a body language to the other team, especially the guys that are about to come up. Because even if they're not thinking this precisely, it'll give them confidence. And that's going to bring up Chisholm. And the first pitch is high and inside. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is batting .223 on the season with 13 home runs. And they did not pop the catcher up there. The temporary 3D glitch. But the next pitch misses inside. First steps out of the batter's box and calls for it. So 2-2 pitch is into the dirt. And of course, that's a great job with runners in scoring position by Alfonso, making sure that those runners don't both advance. And it's a big difference having second and third compared to runners at first and second. That last one is fouled off, and I think the bat is broken, at least cracked. You can kind of hear the sound on the broadcast. So slight delay as Chisholm goes to get a new bat and make sure it feels comfortable and then get back in the batter's box. And then swings at the next pitch for strike 3. Good breaking ball starting from the middle of the strike zone all the way low and outside. And so the Dodgers give up 1 run, and at the end of 1, it's 1 for the Yankees and 0 for the Dodgers. So at the end of 1, so far, we have a tale of 2 halves of an inning, so to speak. The Dodgers went down quickly and quietly in their top of their half. And in the bottom of the half, it was almost another half. You started with 2 outs quickly for Will Klein, and then 3 straight hits, starting with a double with 2 outs, leading to the first run of the game. Second out of the top of the second inning. Next one is a nice breaking ball from Yarbrough. Gets Miguel swinging and missing, and now the count is 1-2. And the next one is swung on and missed. Then flied to first base. First baseman only has to back up to the edge of the grass and 3 away. So another relatively toothless inning for the Dodgers at bat. And we go to the middle of the second, and the score is still 0-1. So after struggling, as he usually does, to start a game, Will Klein looks like he may have already gotten the hook. And so now we go to the top of the second. It appears that uh, Kyle Hurt is coming in. Hurt's been a little bit better. In 32 games, he has a 4.88 ERA. And what's interesting is, the eyeballs say a very different story, at least for the second quarter of the season compared to the first quarter. If you're going to compare Kyle Hurt to Will Klein, if I had to pick, I'd pick Hurt. Now, it's not a clear difference between the two, because Hurt's had his struggles. I mean, you're going to probably get a showcase of the weakest part of the Dodgers team today, and that is the collection of middle relievers, not late relievers, but middle relievers. And Hurt is one of them. And his ERA is almost 5. So the early count to Volpe is 1-1. And the next pitch is flied high. People flying high by first base. But the catch is made by Freddie Freeman for the first out of the inning. And so that's going to bring up Austin Wells, who's batting terrible, 153 average. That's not the only thing that players are judged on today. There's other ways to be productive. But you can't have a terrible average to be productive. So we will see how he does. And it's an easy ground out to second base. So lack of hits continues. So now we have Caballero come on up, and he is A batter that is taking the first ball or a ball, then the next pitch doesn't really brush him off. I think just he judged whether it was going to be inside. It wasn't inside. A little bit dramatic when it came to the body language, and the count now is 2-0. All kinds of gold chain hanging around his neck. And Kyle Hurt throws 4 straight balls and walks him. This is exactly what we're talking about. So now we'll have Grisham. With a runner at first who takes a big jump and a big lead, Grisham looks at the first pitch for a strike. Check this lead over here. They're past the cut. That's usually a threat, and he's past the cut. now Hurt throws over. You can see that coming. So the count's 0-1 to Grisham. And swings and flies it very high to the same spot. Seems to be a gravitational pull, extremely high for both teams. And yet another out made by Miguel Rojas. So even though he walked one of those batters with 4 straight pitches, Kyle Hurt does okay and holds the score to where it is. At the end of 2, it's the Dodgers 0 and the Yankees 1. Getting ready to start. Top of the 3rd. So far, the Dodgers held scoreless, and nobody's been productive at the plate, but it's early. Dodgers and the Yankees have 2 of the most productive offenses in baseball. So that's going to bring up Teoscar Hernandez. And Teo looks at the first pitch for a strike. And then fouls the next one off. So very quickly, there's a 2-strike count on Teo. And Teoscar looks at the next pitch, which is well high for a ball. So the count now to Teo is 2-2. And fouls the next one off and keeps it where it's at. Teo has generally, he struggled at the plate. He did get RBI earlier today to help the Dodgers put away the Yankees. There was a handful of Dodgers that we said at the outset. And swings really late, but makes contact and stays alive on the next pitch. And fouls another off. You know, normally you would say, without knowing who the batter is, for the average batter, if they foul a bunch of pitches off, they're able to kind of use that as space to be able to kind of find the right pitch and get a beat on the pitcher's rhythm. But I wouldn't say that for Teo. That's not how he's looked at the plate today, and that's not how he's looked since he's been back from his hamstring injury. Like, he's just kind of making contact. But when he makes contact, he doesn't look powerful, doesn't look scary. Next pitch does miss outside. Of course, as a Dodgers fan, you'll take a walk and take a base runner, however you can get it. And a 3-2 pitch is slide, no risk whatsoever, to second base. So second and first have been the gravitational pull for getting outs tonight so far, going into the top of the third inning. But that looked terrible. Looked terrible body language on that. Kind of got jammed up inside. I'm guessing, without knowing for sure, that it was a ball. Looked like it was inside, off the strike zone. As Max Muncy comes up and fouls one off too. And when he swung and made contact, like, he didn't follow through. And I guess, you bat for so many times once you get to this level of your life and you're so productive like Teo has been. You probably know that once the contact's made, whether it's solid or not, and that was anything but. And Muncy looks at the next pitch for a ball. So the count's 1-1. And the next pitch is fouled off for strike 2. So the count's 1-2 to Muncy, who is batting in the 8th spot, which is unusual for him. I mean, he's definitely good enough to be right in the next couple of slots after the cleanup hitter. And actually, he could be the cleanup hitter once in a while. Looks at the next pitch that just misses inside. So the count's 2-2 to Muncy. Goes to first base, looks to the heavens, says, "Thank you very much," and has a huge smile as he does the Dodger dance for the first time. And then that ball is brought from the outfield in and given to somebody in the dugout. I think Teoscar Hernandez is the first person to grab it, but they're going to relay it so that he can keep that because, needless to say, that's very momentous. So now, my favorite thing about the 9-hitter is that once they're done, it brings up Shohei Ohtani. Ohtani, of course, is 0 for 1. So 2 outs here and a chance to do some damage. And swung on and hit. And it's through for a hit. Wow, they were way shifted. Actually, it wasn't through. You couldn't track the ball because it kind of blended with the white line. But made contact with just like the edge of the bat. He's like laughing as he stands at first base. And Yarbrough shakes his head. But the entire infield, as they often do, especially with Ohtani, was way shifted to the right, as that lefty often pulls the ball. And so all he had to do was basically hit it in a way that became a long bunt. And he gets on base. And now the Dodgers, with 2 outs, are in business with runners at first and second. And just like that, Yarbrough gets the hook. We might see a whole bunch of pitchers today. So we'll see who the Yankees send in next. This is so funny. I don't know why, but it just continues to make me chuckle. So it looks like Blackburn's going to come in. After momentarily, the 3D made it look like the home plate umpire was going to pitch, and the Dodgers batter was going to be the catcher. So Andy Pages is going to come up and see what he can do with 1 runner in scoring position and a fast runner behind him, although Ohtani has been struggling recently, the last couple of weeks, with some swelling in his knee. So Paul Blackburn is set to come in. He's pitched in 33 games this year. And the conference that's happening between him and the umpire, and no, not a Dodger, it's supposed to be a catcher out there, is the fact that the communication system, they call it PitchCom, is not working properly. In the brim of his hat is where he gets audio telling him what pitches to throw. But now we're back to business, and the first pitch misses. Looked like it was a strike. And the Yankees' challenge is successful. Caught the corner. Andy Pages, speaking of challenges, the last time up, used the challenge in a situation with nobody on and no high stakes, and was clearly wrong. a pitch that was called a strike was confirmed to be completely 100% all of the ball in the strike zone, which is part of what they measure with it now. They estimate how many tenths of an inch or how many inches, because both of those scenarios happen, the ball is in the strike zone or outside of the strike zone. And the early count to Pages is 1-1. Pages hits one hard to left field, and it's traveling pretty far, but just short of the warning track. The catch is made, and so 3 away, and the Dodgers strand 2. So Kyle Hurt set to return for the bottom of the 3rd inning. Hurt had one batter that he threw 4 straight balls to last inning, but was able to dispense of the Yankees lineup, and no harm, no foul. Dodgers still well within striking distance, but they can somehow patch together a handful of middle relievers and get them into the last couple of innings and be within an inning or two. Dodgers can steal this one and sweep the Yankees. So Rice is going to come up to start the bottom of the 3rd. And first pitch, good one in the bottom lower corner. And swung on a miss for strike 1. Rice batting second in the lineup. And looks at the next pitch for ball 1. Last time up, Ben Rice grounded out. So he's 0 for 1 tonight. On the season, he's batting .280 as he looks at the next pitch for strike 2. And Rice hits it really deep to center. And Pages makes the catch right up against the wall. Boy, there were some cheers going out at Yankee Stadium there, but all it ended up being was a long fly ball. And Andy showed what, he does typically at center field. He gets a good jump on the ball, takes a good angle to where it's going to land, does a nice job of understanding where his surroundings are, and makes the catch. So that'll bring up Goldschmidt for his second trip. And he looks at the first pitch for a ball. So our hearts are going up and down a little bit against the Yankees with Kyle Hurt in there, but he's getting the job done. So the next pitch misses for ball 2. So the count to Goldschmidt now is 2-0. Next pitch catches the upper range of the strike zone for the first strike at the at-bat. The next one catches the edge too. As you can see there, using the grid, nice job with movement on Goldschmidt and catching the edge of the strike zone twice. So now 2 strikes on. And the next pitch swung on and missed for strike 3. So that'll bring up Cody Bellinger, who last time up had a hit that drove in the run of the game. Two away here. Looks at the first pitch for a ball. The next pitch swings and misses. Nice pitch by Hurt inside, jamming up Cody Bellinger. Cody Bellinger, of course, the former Dodger. Next pitch misses for ball 2, followed by another swing and miss by Cody Bellinger. Hurt from the stretch, and the next pitch is low. Now the count's full, and Cody's still alive. And the All-Star MVP is not somebody you want to see up there for a long stretch if you're a Dodgers fan. Next pitch. Swung on and missed. Oh, nope, sorry. Fouled into the glove of the catcher. And so Bellinger is still alive. So the count's 3-2 with 2 outs and nobody on base. And the next pitch misses high for ball 4. So another walk for Kyle Hurt. And that'll bring up the 5-hitter Dominguez, who is 1 for 1 tonight. And the first pitch in the dirt and to the side, and Alfonso does a nice job picking that one. This is one of the things I like about Alfonso. You know, he does these things that Dalton Rushing doesn't always do. Doesn't always move his body. And of course, Rushing tries harder when there's somebody on base. Most catchers do. And a flare behind second base, but Mookie Betts was there, and he easily makes the catch. And so 3 away, and Kyle Hurt holding on. The Dodgers still well within striking distance. So we go back to Blackburn, and Freddie Freeman comes up. And Freddie looks at the first pitch low for a ball. And the next one is as well, so 2-0 to Freeman. Freeman fouls one directly into the dirt, and foul makes it, you guessed it, strike one. Good one. Next pitch, high and outside. Count is 2-2 to Freeman. And very quickly, he walks. So Freeman, who is probably the most clutch hitter on the Dodgers roster, draws a walk. Now Mookie Betts gets a shot to move him along. Top of the fourth, and Betts, the cleanup, playing shortstop, looks at the first pitch for a strike. And next pitch is fouled off, first base side. Now the count's 1-1. Blackburn glancing over to first base, and that's his job. But Freddie Freeman, not much of a steal threat. Next pitch misses inside for a ball. Mookie kind of half jumps to get out of the way. So now the count's 1-2. No outs in the Dodgers in the meat of their order. And the next pitch is swung on and fly deep to center, but not deep enough to be exciting. And that's the first out of the inning. Thrown immediately to second base, just in case Freddie Freeman was thinking about trying to tag up. So that'll bring up Kyle Tucker. Tucker looks at the first pitch outside for a ball. Small check swing, no threat of it being a strike. Tucker's 0 for 1. He popped out in the second inning. Batting .243 on the season with 7 home runs, 47 RBI. Second pitch misses for ball 2. And the next one is force out at first, and the Yankees also turn a double play. So not much of a threat there. Go to the bottom of the fourth, and the Dodgers still scoreless with the Yankees having won. So we go to the bottom of the fourth, and Jazz Chisholm Jr. is coming in. He's 0 for 1 tonight. And the Dodgers have brought in Enriquez. Enriquez is a really solid reliever, but of course, because of the doubleheader, the difficult thing is you have a doubleheader and Shohei Ohtani has not been pitching. It's a shortened starting lineup, starting rotation. And so a guy who is probably the most dangerous of all the Dodgers middle relievers, who could be a stand-in closer, is in, and right away he gets a strikeout. Freezes Chisholm looking at the inside corner of the strike zone for strike 3. And Charlie approves. So that'll bring up Volpe, who's also 0 for 1 tonight, batting in the 7th spot. Enriquez has got a whole arsenal of pitches, but probably most impressive as he throws the first pitch to Volpe outside the strike zone is his fastball. His fastball can routinely reach over 100 miles per hour. And the second pitch also misses for ball 2. Make that 3 straight balls. And after a punch out, Enriquez throws, make it 4 straight balls to walk the Yankee batter And with one away, the Yankees have somebody at first base. So that'll bring up Wells. Wells looks at the first pitch, corner of the strike zone, does not look happy about it. And so the count starts for him at 0-1. Thinks about challenging, but wisely chooses not to. Not a crucial point in the game. I mean, unless you're 100% certain. And it looked like it could have been a strike. I mean, that was definitely right on the board. Now a little bit of a makeup call. Next pitch looked like it was a strike and it was called a ball, so it's 1-1. And Enriquez throws to first just to hold the pitcher or hold the batter in there. And the next pitch misses well inside. Good job by Edgardo Alfonso blocking that. And just made some contact with the dirt, but not really a big threat to be a pass ball and advance the runner from first to second. Yet another ball thrown. Now the count's 3-1. And I don't know if they're going to show this. They should. Everybody's tracked. But this base runner at first has been bouncing back and forth, trying to distract the pitcher. Next pitch is swung on and missed. So now the count's full. So with one out and one on, Wells trying to push the runner along as the Yankees try to prevent the sweep. And the next pitch, this is outside. So another walk from the Dodgers staff. Now Alfonso is going to go out to the mound and talk to Enriquez. That was a fastball at 101 miles per hour. Doesn't matter if it misses. There's no excuse, especially if you're not an all-star. After the all-star break, going, oh gosh, we have a doubleheader. Oh well, you should be well rested. So a little bit of a conference on the mound, and then the dance party starts. Caballero's itching to go, 9-hitter. Yankees are 2 games back in the AL East, behind Tampa Bay. Next pitch, low, way low, and reached for and fouled off. So now the count remains 1-2. Caballero looking for his first hit of the evening. Next pitch is outside, and I don't know if you caught this, but he's like falling away. It was terrible body language. It was like he was fooled. Thought the ball was going to be thrown inside. It broke away from him. And his feet were moving away from home plate while he reached out and just lazily barely made contact to try to save himself from, I guess, some embarrassment. But if he hadn't swung, it would have been a ball. So now it counts 1-2. Just in this pitch sequence, the pitcher's thrown 2 pitches more than 100 miles per hour. But it doesn't matter if they don't land. The next one is a ball. The count is 2-2. Enriquez is not looking good. Next pitch, swung on and missed. Just barely got a piece of it and fouled it off. So Caballero stays alive. Still has a chance to drive home some runs. Only 1 out, and runners at second and third. Pitch, and it is grounded to third, and they throw home at the force, and it is an out. Probably a bad decision to send the runner from third home. Max Muncy was able to get that ball and throw it home immediately, and Alfonso did a nice job of reaching and extending to tag the runner out as he was trying to avoid and go around the outside track of home plate. It wasn't even really close. He was out by at least 2 feet. And Max Muncy learned from the mistake that he had made before the All-Star break in the last series, where there was a runner just like this that was going home, although that runner ran on the inside of the base paths to try to be in the way of the throw, and actually forced Max Muncy to throw him out, hit him in the back, and that run scored. But this time, the runner didn't do it. Made life easier. Max Muncy also threw the ball inside, and so the runner is easily tagged out. And now the Yankees have 2 away in this inning. And Dave Roberts, I think wisely, is going to make a pitching change because Enriquez looked shaky that inning. Let's see if there's our customary dance-off at the mound. They're reporting that Dreyer is going to come in. Guess not a dance-off. Too bad, 3D. And no, the umpire is not throwing. This is part of a lovely transitional glitch that you see with 3D. Early report, though, is the Dodgers are going to bring in Jack Dreyer. And Dreyer's pretty strong as of late. Too bad to see Enriquez struggle. Honestly, I don't care if he comes in late, like at the 8th inning, that's usually where he'd come in, or right now, the bottom of the 4th. You have to pitch when you're called upon, and that's just the nature of the beast when you're a reliever by trade. So Dreyer's going to face Grisham. And Dreyer's been in 39 games this year with an ERA of 2.92. With 46 strikeouts to 10 walks. And the early count to Grisham is 1-1. Throw to first just to keep a runner honest. which frankly is easier to do when you're a left-handed pitcher. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. Count is 1-1. And the next pitch misses low and outside, almost gets past the catcher. And now the count's 2-1. You can see how new Alfonso is. You know, just kind of like, well, do I give the ball to... Do I get the ball from the umpire first? Let's throw 2 first. I get the ball from the umpire first before I throw the one that hit the dirt to the dugout. Cute. He's new. He's a rookie. And he's a great story. 10 years this catcher struggled in the minors before he was called up. And the next pitch is in the strike zone and high, and it's fouled back for a strike. So now the count, Grisham, is 2-2. So 2-2, 2 outs, 2 runners on. And Dreyer delivers, and swung on and hit to first. And Freddie Freeman picks it up quickly and steps at first base, and 3 away. So, danger averted again. Is 1-1. The Rojas is 1-1. It's not Tucker. Repeat, not Tucker. 3D's having some glitch issues today. Uncharacteristic ones, I'd add. Might be because of the high traffic. Because of these 2 rivals playing. Oh, it's fixed. Rojas plays all over the place, and he lofts this one into the soft spot in right center, and he's on base. So, Dodgers start this inning with a runner on. And now I'll bring up Teoscar Hernandez, who did not look good at his first at bat. And honestly, I mean, I wasn't in a position to be able to see the first game today of the doubleheader. But he struggled lately, and he did drive in an RBI today. You know, but you can have bad at bats where you get a little bit lucky, and the long term usually catches up with you. Makes contact with this one, hits it in position for the Yankees to make a double play. So very quickly turns a little bit of hope into despair. So that'll bring up Max Muncy, who's 0 for 1, batting uncharacteristically in the 8th spot. This position with 2 away. First pitch, foul back. Muncy, another all-star quality starter for the Dodgers, with the next pitch way outside. This pitch is fouled down third base side, and that brings the count to 1-2. Next pitch on the way from Blackburn. Misses well low. All the counts 2-2. Muncy looking for his first hit of the evening. Nobody on, and the pitch on the way from Blackburn is low for ball 2. So Muncy trying to make something happen and close this gap. But swings and misses for strike 3. And the Dodgers offense has been so quiet. Pretty toothless so far today. So we go to the middle of the 5th, and the Dodgers still scoreless, and the Yankees have won. So it looks like to start the 6th inning, Dodgers going to send Jack Dreyer out there again. And still lurking in the weeds. Dodgers can be explosive at any time. Usually you'll see them score a whole bunch of runs 6th, 7th, 8th inning. That's really when they come alive. And I guess on some level that's a testament to the veterans and the All-Stars and a couple of future Hall of Famers that are able to kind of see some trends and make adjustments throughout the game. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if it's baseball or some other sport. It comes down to you doing you the best. So concentrating on yourself, trying to make the best improvements that you can within the game that you're playing, just that one day. You do one day at a time is what these people often do. So Rice is going to come up to start the next inning on the Yankees side of the ledger, and he fouls the first pitch off for strike 1. So now the count's 1-1 to Rice. Dodgers just trying to stay close, hopefully be productive at the next couple of innings at the plate. Next pitch on the way from Dreyer is lined into center field, and Andy Pages scoops it up, throws it into second, and the Yankees are in business again. So that'll bring up Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt's 0 for 1 today. Yankees have a runner now on first with no outs. First pitch becomes a strike to Goldschmidt. And so is the second. Well, Goldschmidt trying to be tough with 2 strikes. And he hits it into center and does his job. Boy, Mookie Betts was shifted over to his right, or our left as we look at it from home plate, because it was a right-handed hitter. But once it came off the bat, it didn't look like he gave his best effort. Like he could have dove for that ball. But instead he just looked at it as it dribbled into center field. And so the Yankees are cooking, bringing up the All-Star MVP, Cody Bellinger, with nobody out and runners at first and second. And Dreyer catches the bottom left corner of the strike zone. The early count to Bellinger is 1-1. Next pitch low. There's been a lot of pitches where the catcher is not been able to find the handle. Of course, there was a pitch that was well wide. It was a wild pitch by Enriquez. But then there's been 3 pitches at least, in addition to that one, where catchers allowed the ball to kind of just bounce off of his glove and then roll forward with no threat to having the runners advance. But still, just kind of loose. Dreyer pitches to Bellinger. Bellinger hits it into left field, and the runners hold. Wow, I thought that they were going to send the runner from second to third. It was to Andy Pages, who has a cannon for an arm. But I think the Yankees decided we're going to be conservative, and we're feeling pretty good about where things are at this point. So let's not press our luck, because we're going to have plenty of opportunities. And it looks like the Dodgers are going to make another pitching change. Dave Roberts is walking out to the mound. See if we can get these guys. There we go. There's a little better look as Dreyer goes off. And shortly he's going to be sinking into the mud. There he goes. And now we'll see what new pitcher the Dodgers bring in. I don't know if it'd be Vesia. Don't typically like to bring Vesia in this early, but then again, this is not your typical game. Looks like they're going to bring in Stewart. We'll confirm that shortly. But still, with all of the changing faces, the Dodgers they're within striking distance. But they are legitimately at risk right now of falling way behind the Yankees in the middle part of this game. As there are no outs and bases loaded. So the 5-hitter, Dominguez, comes up, who's 1 for 2 tonight. Brock Stewart is the pitcher, who's been in 10 games so far this year. And he has a respectable ERA of 2.79. Stewart throws and gets Dominguez to swing. So starts with a positive for a Dodgers fan. Bases loaded, no outs. Difficult position for Brock Stewart to be in. But that's also the life of a reliever. And the second pitch is fouled off, and so now it's 0-2. But you can see there's a runner at third, runner at second, and a runner at first. Next pitch from Stewart to Dominguez is well inside, brushes him back. And now the count's 1-2. Yankees looking to do some damage here. Really hurt the Dodgers. Swung on though. Foul. So there's 2 strikes. You'd love to see, if you're a Dodgers fan, a double play that does not give up a run. But that's really hard to do with bases loaded. Even better be a strikeout or a force at home. Next pitch misses inside. See if Stewart mixes it up and goes outside now. And the next pitch is inside, and Dominguez swings. Wow, almost the same exact pitch. But strike 3. And so now, Jazz Chisholm Jr. comes up with bases loaded. 2 away, and the Dodgers looking to escape some serious danger. And that pitch is fouled off. So begins this one with a strike. 0-1. Pitching to the 7-hitter, Volpe. Volpe's 0 for 1 tonight. Next pitch. This is high and inside for a ball, 1-1. Stewart trying to get the Dodgers out of a big jam. And now the count's 1-2 to Volpe. So the Dodgers, 1 strike away from escaping. Fouled off. Count remains. So, been a tight one tonight. Yankees trying to avoid the sweep by the Dodgers. Dodgers have already clinched this 3-game series. And Edgardo Alfonzo comes back up to bat. Got his first hit in the major leagues, first hit as a Dodger in his rookie season tonight. And his 5th start of the season. Great story. Shohei Ohtani on deck. Looks at the first pitch just outside strike zone, up high for ball 1, and then fouls off the next pitch, and now the count's 1-1. Alfonso's had one pass ball, but really that was on the pitcher Enriquez earlier tonight. And the next pitch is also outside. But Alfonso is an amazing story. Spent 10 years in the minors before he got called up this year. And the same exact time that he got called up, found out that 2 of his closest family members were killed in the Venezuelan earthquake. And so, needless to say, it's been a bittersweet debut for him. And fouls off the next pitch. Dodgers hanging close. And Alfonso, after hanging tough with a 2-2 count, swings a fly to center field, and then an easy play is made. So the end of the inning, once again, the Dodgers still held scoreless. So we go to the middle of the 6th, and now looks like there might be a pitching change, but we're going to confirm right after this break. Looks right now like Brock Stewart is going to remain in the game. And this is one of those games that, boy, if I was a Yankees fan, I'd be a little bit nervous. I'd be going, man, we're letting this thing get away from us. Yes, we have a lead, but it's only 1 run. And we've had multiple runners in scoring position on base tonight, and we have not been able to cash in the way that we need to. And the last inning was the best example of that. They had runners on every base and were not able to cash in. See if Brock Stewart can keep it close as Wells comes up and looks at the first pitch right on the edge of the strike zone for strike 1. Wells kind of freezes and thinks about whether he wants to challenge. And this is not the situation to challenge with nobody on. Next pitch is inside for a ball, and the count's now 1-1. Stewart from the stretch, because that's just normally how he works. And the next pitch is flied high. And Max Muncy is able to catch it just left of the third base foul line. And 1 out. So that'll bring up Caballero with 1 away at the bottom of the 6th inning. And if you're joining us, welcome. If it's your first time, subscribe and like, and look us up in the future, especially if you're a home fan, even though we are LA sports fans. But a home fan that is blacked out or that has trouble finding your team's broadcast, this is part of the reason we started up this new channel. And the early count to Caballero is 1-1. Dodgers hanging around. And the pitch is grounded to second base. Miguel Rojas picks it up and throws to Freddie Freeman at first for the 2nd out of the inning. Caballero shaking his head as he goes back to the dugout. But that won't help him here. And so now Chisholm comes to the plate. Check that, it's Grisham. Sorry, I read that too quickly. As Chisholm Jr. is an early part of the lineup. As the first pitch misses outside for a ball to Grisham. Grisham so far as the one hitter is 0 for 3 tonight. Next pitch clips the top of the strike zone. Now the count's 1-1. Next pitch swung on and grounded to second base. It's actually in the hole between first and second. Freddie Freeman does a nice job covering that ground. And Stewart does a nice job covering first base so that Freddie can flip it to him for the 3rd out of the inning. And that is the end of 6. Score is still Dodgers 0, Yankees 1. Dodgers have 9 outs left to make a dent. So the 3D, 3D's glitching. looks like the Yankees have 4 players in unison. It's almost like synchronized defending instead of synchronized swimming. But we go to the top of the 7th. Dodgers looking for somebody to make some noise. Whether it's bringing somebody in that's on base, they haven't had a whole lot of runners today, or somebody that can hit a home run. Both of those things Freddie Freeman has done several times in his career. Freddie Freeman has well over 2,500 hits now, Back to the first half of the season when he passed the 2,500 hit mark and marching, in my opinion, to the Hall of Fame. Looks at the first pitch inside the strike zone for strike one. Next pitch on the way. Swung off and fouled down the third base side. Now the count's 0-2. Freddie with that golfer swing that his dad taught him so many years ago. Give some life to the Dodgers batting order right now. Looks at the next pitch well inside for a ball, and the count's 1-2. Next pitch. Swung on and missed well out of the strike zone and low, and one away. So Hedrick doing a good job. And that brings up Mookie Betts. Mookie looks at the first pitch, low for ball one. Next pitch on the way, and swung on and grounded to the third base side. Third baseman gets over, does a nice job covering ground, picks it up, throws it to first for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up five-hitter Kyle Tucker in right field. Dodgers lurking. You know, there's two away in this inning, but this is usually the seventh is when they are the most dangerous. And it's not always the same players. And as Tucker fouls the first pitch off for strike one. Next pitch flips the bottom of the strike zone. It's called a ball. So it's 1-1 to Tucker. But the catcher is challenging. And the challenge is so make that 6 outs left for the Dodgers to make up ground, or if you're a Yankees fan, 6 outs left to finally get a win in this series on the Dodgers. You can see there, Tucker's kind of falling back as he swings. And it wasn't an inside pitch. So certainly was fooled somewhat. But all it takes is one swing and a connection to completely change the complexion of this game. But we go to the 7th inning stretch, and the Dodgers still scoreless, and the Yankees have one more than that. So Dodgers hanging around, but that's pretty much all they've done on the offensive side. On the defensive side, obviously, they've held the Yankees to 1 run. And in the first 2 games of this 3-game series, the Yankees have only scored a total of 3 runs. So really, it's not the pitching, which is saying something as we go to the bottom of the 7th at this point, because knowing going into the game that Shohei Ohtani was not going to be able to pitch again because of soreness in his knee, he is in the batting lineup, but he hasn't really done anything tonight, would have said, oh boy, we're in trouble, because the middle relievers have to pick up the slack, and it's pitcher by committee the entire game through. And usually when they do that, they give up at least 4 runs. They haven't. Have they looked shaky? Of course. I mean, that's the weak part of the Dodgers early. But they still have 1 left in a very close game. Next pitch on the way to Vesia is in there for strike 3. Great job, Vesia. Reload 3D while I'm telling you what's happening in real time. And what's happening in real time is the 3-hitter, Goldschmidt, is coming up. And Vesia already starts him with a strike. Next pitch on the way is a ball. And the early count is actually 1-2. Vesia trying to keep it close, and the relievers have been solid since the All-Star break, although it's early. I mean, this is only the 3rd game, and it's only the Dodgers' first opponents. With 1 away, the 1-2 pitch is on the way, and swung out on miss for strike 3. And one of the things that I do like about Vesia is his body language. You know, I think it's great to be animated and to be intense if that's your style, to be passionate, as long as you're not showing up the other team. And that's not his way. He marches off the mound. He doesn't, like, try to gesture to the other side. He does, like, a little march circle around the mound while the Dodgers throw the ball around, and then he gets it back. So that's going to bring up All-Star MVP Cody Bellinger, who was a Dodger. And he's one of a few players that have been all-stars for both the Dodgers and the Yankees. He gets started with a strike. And make that 2. So 0-2 to Bellinger. See, looking sharp right now. Painting the edges of the strike zone, moving the ball in a lot of different spaces. Pitch, and swung on and missed for strike 3 again. Absolutely lights out inning from Alex Vesia. Does a little pump of his fist as he comes off the mound, marches to the dugout, and looks really confident. So the Dodgers 6 outs from losing the opportunity to have a sweep in this game. But they're still around. They're still hanging in there. It takes 1 swing to even this game up. After 7, it's the Dodgers 0 and the Yankees 1. So Cruz comes in to face Tommy Edman, who has the highest batting average for all of the Dodgers. And it's not just a week or two. He's been back for a while now since his rehab assignment after ankle surgery. And Edman hits it deep to right center, and it's a home run for Tommy Edman. The golf swing carries just about 3 rows into the outfield. He waves to the ball as he rounds second base, and just like that, we said it, one swing can even it up, and that's exactly what Tommy Edman does. Such a clutch player for the Dodgers. Extremely, extremely important during the championship runs from the last 2 seasons. Extremely unselfish player who gets a he gets a sunflower seed shower as he goes into the dugout in congratulations, and delivers once again for the Dodgers. So now, completely different game with it evened up, and hit a curveball that had good drop. It moved at least 2 feet, but he got down there. He bent his knees. He golf swing that thing out of the park. And Teoscar Hernandez is up, who has not looked good at the plate recently, today included, and his struggles continue. Swings and misses pretty badly at that one, and that was in the strike zone. He's pulling his head, his back foot is moving, like his fundamentals are terrible right now, terrible. And the early count to him is 1-2. And the 3D makes it look like his back foot is outside of the batter's box. They're not going to call that, of course. And he strikes out. Just so bad. That one wasn't even close. The only way that pitch could have been more of a ball is if it hit the dirt. But great clutch job by Tommy Edman. Now it brings up Max Muncy in kind of an important situation, batting 8th tonight, when normally he's way up further in the lineup. He doesn't have a hit tonight, but that first pitch just misses, and it's called a ball. The catcher's going to challenge yet again, and yet again. He overrules the umpire. So flip that counter. And this is one of the things that I think that Dave Roberts does really well. I don't always agree, and I'm just some dude, who am I? I don't always agree with his timing in terms of who he chooses to pitch and when, but I think he is great at choosing who to bat when. And interestingly enough, he chooses now to bring in Dalton Rushing off the bench, who was getting a little bit of a breather after catching earlier today. And Cruz misses with the very first pitch to him, and now the count's 1-0. And it looks like we're going to have a little huddle on the mound. It looked like the catcher just punched one of these guys in the gut. Never quite know what they're going to do. Go out there. Bumped. Was high and swung on and missed. The 1-1, low and into the dirt, counts 2-1. with Max Muncy on first base. Cruz out of the stretch. Took a little peek over his shoulder at first, and promptly delivered a ball. Now the count's 3-1. The Dodgers exerting a little bit of pressure right now. Righty on lefty. Good matchup, good timing by Dave Roberts. And rushing draws a walk. So still only one away. And now the Dodgers have runners at first and second. And the question is whether the Yankees are going to bring the hook out for Cruz. And they are. Mattingly comes and signals for a right-hander. And we'll see who that right-hander is shortly. That'll be it for Cruz. And looks like the Yankees are going to bring in Bednar. So Dave Roberts does a really good job once again. Deciding who to sub when. And David Bednar now has to clean up a little bit of a mess, and he's pitched in 37 games this year. But he's got to face Shohei Ohtani. Talk about one swing changing things. Not only did Tommy Edman do it to tie up the game, but right now Ohtani could really change things with one swing. Looks at the first pitch for the ball. And next pitch swings and misses. The pitch was low and outside, on the edge of the strike zone in the corner, but he really pulled his head and opened up, and there's no way he can reach that ball. Next pitch. This is high, almost in the exact same spot. Now the count's 2-1. Now counts 2-1. Ooh. Check swing on the next pitch is a little bit high. But Pages doesn't go. Now the count is 3-1. There's your Mattingly looking a little bit dressed. Putting his hand over his face. Facing the possibility with 2 outs of having bases loaded. Bednar with 2 on. Delivers. And it's high. So 3 balls now. And you have Yankees fans, of course, in the majority because they're a home team, but quite a few Dodgers fans on their feet. So both sides on their feet and cheering, trying to get the result that they want. And a tough at bat from Andy, as the count is 3-2. So 2 on, 2 out, 2 strikes, but also 3 balls. Pressure ratcheting up a little bit for the Yankees. Foul tip. So the count remains 3-2. Starters, or at least what would be recent starters coming into the game, because they were on the bench to start this doubleheader. Earlier today, the Dodgers beat the Yankees 8-2. And trying to steal a sweep here. Well, really, I mean, is there such a thing? Either earn it or you don't. But now you have Edman, who really is the Dodgers starter at second base, even though Miguel Rojas is no slouch. And now you have Dalton Rushing behind the plate, who I am not thrilled with behind the plate. He's obviously a better hitter than the rookie. Still falls far short of the production that Will Smith offers, but Will Smith has had a neck injury, and who knows when he's going to come back. But now Phillips is in for the Dodgers. And Evan Phillips has only pitched in 3 games this season. He has an ERA of 6. But does start this first batter, Dominguez, with a strike. And then evens up the count 1-1. Next pitch is fouled off. And the count now is 1-2. Dominguez is 1 for 3 tonight. And Yankees fans hungry for a victory after losing the first 2 of this 3-game set to the Dodgers. But Phillips punches him out, and strike 3 for the Dodgers. So that'll bring up Jazz Chisholm Jr. Batting in the 6th spot and 0 for 3 tonight. First pitch is outside for ball 1. Chisholm Jr. has struck out twice tonight and fouled out. So nothing really productive. And this one is lofted deep to left center. And it is gone for a home run. Only 2 rows deep. And so Jazz Chisholm Jr. puts the Yankees in control in the bottom of the 8th. After Evan Phillips gives up a home run. And the Yankees fans are pumped. Chisholm Jr. goes into the dugout, does like running double high fives to all the players and coaches. And that's going to bring up McMahon with a brief conference at the mound that the ump does not want to see go very long, since this is the second of back-to-back games at Yankee Stadium today. So now 2-1 Yankees. And the 7-hitter, McMahon, is about to face Phillips. See if he can do something to push this lead up and keep it out of reach late in the game. But not a great pitch from Phillips. Threw a fastball that was in the lower half of the strike zone, but still in the middle. And Jazz did a great job of connecting and sending that just far enough for a home run. McMahon swings. He sends one deep. Andy Pages is running deep and makes the catch over his left shoulder. Actually, no, it got past him, bounced, and went over the outfield fence for a ground rule double. So Phillips comes in with a 6-run ERA, and he's getting blasted right now. Another deep drive. I thought Andy had the beat on that one. It was just a little too deep and a little too far for him to get to. So now the Yankees, with Wells coming up, have another runner in scoring position. And the first pitch to him is low for a ball. Only one out. Wells is 0 for 2, but Chisholm was 0 for 3, and he just hit a blast after striking out twice and popping it foul for an out. So the Dodgers looking slightly. What you're supposed to do is turn your glove over to face the pitcher, let it hit your chest, and keep it in front of you. This is what he does a lot of the time. He just, he bets that he'll be able to pick it with his glove. But he's shown that he's not 100%, not even close when it comes to that. And the next pitch catches the edge of the strike zone. So the Dodgers, after trailing 1-0, just about the entire game, turn things around somewhat with Tommy Edman's pinch home run. The last time the Dodgers were up. Then give it up the very next time with a blast off of Phillips from a guy that was 0 for 3 and not looking great at the plate. So Wells looking to inflict more damage here. And Phillips delivers and misses outside. Walks him. So now there's runners at first and second. Rushing comes out to, offer some kind of motivational body language. We know that that's been hit and miss this season. And that'll bring up the 9-hitter, Caballero. So Phillips in a pinch, and it's completely of his own doing. First pitch in there for a strike. Runners at first and second, only one out. And the next pitch in there for strike two. Swung on a miss by Caballero. So the Dodgers hoping they can flip it one more time at the end of this game in the bottom of the ninth. You got to keep it close to do so. Next pitch is outside for a ball. But they had flipped it, or at least not completely flipped it, but evened it thanks to Tommy Edman's pinch hit home run. Pitch is hit to second, and Tommy Edman was shifted over and actually keeps his foot on second base while reaching for the ball on the other side of second base where Mookie Betts could have made a play, and makes the out all on his own. Boy, I love Tommy Edman. Love the way he plays. And that could have been a hit. I mean, that was in a gray area where there could have easily been a miscommunication. Could have dribbled into center field and been real trouble. But speaking of trouble, the Dodgers are not out of it yet, because that's only the second out of the inning. Runners did advance. Well, at least the runner from second to third. So the Yankees have a runner in scoring position on third base with 2 outs. And Grisham comes up. It was 0 for 4 today, at least in this game. First pitch is in there for a strike, and the Yankees steal, but Dalton Rushing does not throw in a position to even make a play on it. Throws behind the runner. And that's one of the things, if you ask me, it's one of his liabilities. Not great at throwing runners out. Doesn't have a particularly strong arm. And some people kind of overhype what he can do at the plate, but that's all it is hype. So now the Dodgers are facing 2 runners in scoring position, although there is 2 outs, thanks to that good heads-up play by Tommy Edman. I argue he's the MVP so far. Next pitch misses for a ball. Grisham trying to bring home 2 more runs. Hopefully put this game out of reach for Yankees fans. So the Dodgers are going to send up Freddie Freeman, who they have counted on time and time again over his career, to deliver important, pivotal situations. Freeman tonight in the second game is 0 for 2. He did walk in the 4th inning. And the pitch misses low. So the count is 1-0 to Freeman. Yankees kept Bednar in, which is somewhat interesting. Although it's an unusual situation by many accounts. You had the postponed game because of the weather delay, leading to a doubleheader today, which the Dodgers started off with an 8-2 win. But one thing that's a little surprising is that they know who they're facing. In my opinion, a future Hall of Famer who can send it out of the ballpark at any time. Who now has a 2-1 count. And is a lefty looking at the ball coming out of a right-handed thrower's hand. They can pick it up just a fraction of a second earlier and see it. Just the other side so we can see these pitches a little bit better. And the next pitch is fouled off. So 2-2 to Freddie Freeman. Trying to level things once again after the dodging. And unlike somebody like Teoscar Hernandez, who I said earlier tonight, does not look necessarily good fouling a bunch of balls off. Freddie Freeman causes some concern if you're trying to put the game away and you're facing him. It just gives him more looks at whatever pitcher he's facing. The next pitch misses outside. Great job by Freddie Freeman being tough, fouling balls off. That one missed by not much, but it missed nonetheless. So he walks. And top of the ninth, the Dodgers, with nobody out, have Freddie at first base. And it looks like they might be bringing in a pinch runner. They are, with a little more speed than Freddie. Freddie's not really a running threat. I wouldn't say he's super slow, but they're going to bring in Alex Freeland, who is definitely fast. He's got some wheels. They've got a couple of young bucks. This is one of them who can fly. And so this, to me, is one of the best strengths of Dave Roberts. He knows how to sub when the Dodgers are on offense. But it's going to be up to Mookie Betts and the meat of the Dodgers lineup to bring him around. Swings and misses at the first pitch for strike one. See if there's much of a lead on first. Definitely past the cut. But doesn't go, and the next pitch is fouled off by Mookie Betts for strike two. You know, if the Dodgers are further down in the lineup, you could see the argument for maybe having this guy steal. But I don't know the scouting report on the Yankees catcher. And the next pitch is swung on and missed by Mookie Betts, strike three. Chased a slider that was slightly low and outside. A good drop on it, too. So now there's an out. And Kyle Tucker comes up in right field. He's over in this game. He's over 3. Looks at the first pitch for a ball. Bednar trying to close this one out and keep the Yankees from getting swept by the Dodgers. First series after the All-Star break. Next pitch, misses for a ball. So now the count's 2-0. The Yankees still have their work cut out for them. So the Dodgers are down to their final 2 outs. Pitch, swung on and missed. So now the count's 2-1. It looked like he pulled his head there. Yeah, his eyes left contact. When I say contact, I mean eye contact between his eyes seeing the ball hit the bat. And Bednar throws to first, thinking maybe Freeland's thinking of stealing and trying to create some offense here. It's not a bad idea right here. So the 2-1 pitch to Tucker, swung on, and it's grounded to first, picked up, thrown to second. And the Yankees get 1 out, but too much of a stretch to get a double play. That throw and the smart slide by Freeland really removed the Yankees from being able to make a double play back to first base. Almost threw this into the outfield. Really had to stretch to get that ball and still keep his foot on the bag. So it's 2 away. The Dodgers are down to their last out, but if I had 1 out left, I'd be just as happy to see this guy as anybody else, Tommy Edman, who leveled the game 1-1 with a solo home run. Looks at the first pitch for a strike, though. Next pitch inside, swung on a miss for strike 2. So the Yankees 1 strike away from closing this series out with a win. And now all the Yankees fans in Yankee Stadium up on their feet and cheering, trying to create the energy for Bednar to close this out. 2-strike pitch. And contact made. It's flied to left, but it's shallow. And the catch is made, and that's 3 away. So the Yankees do a good job of holding the Dodgers' potent offense in check. Only 1 home run on 1 swing from Tommy Edman, and that was a pinch home run late in the game, but nonetheless it counts. And so does the loss for the Dodgers. So the Yankees do a good job at home of avoiding the sweep, but the Dodgers take the series. And one thing the Dodgers showed in this early series after the All-Star break is a solidification of performance by their middle relievers, who today had to basically be the default, de facto starters by committee. We'll see what happens in the near future as far as Shohei Ohtani's sore knee. He did play today, obviously. He was at bat, but did not pitch for the 2nd time. And that goes back to before the All-Star break, obviously. So hopefully that gets remedied soon. But that is the end of the game from Yankee Stadium at the end of the series. We'll see you the next time as the Dodgers start a new series on LA Press Box. Thanks for joining us.